rates and the Federal Reserve, it has been recently reported that you might be in consideration for the job as the next Fed chair. When you've been asked about the likelihood recently, you said that it's up to the president. Is it a job that you would want?
I will do what the president wants, but I think I have the best job in D.C. We're making a lot of progress with the president's leadership. Think about it. We are going to have the tax bill on his desk by July 4th. We're going to be wrapping up the trade talks. So I think we've had great momentum, and we will be working on Chair Powell's successor over the coming weeks and months.
So this is something that I find very interesting right now in the market. And the reason why I find it interesting is I saw a post here coming from the Kobe Asai letter, if I got that one right. I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce that, but that being said, let's keep this rolling here. So he said, we now have a president who's actively calling for interest rates to be cut as low as 1%. And he's actively saying that he will be replacing Fed Chair Powell with someone who will immediately cut rates. And that is said to be the gentleman who you guys just heard speaking right now. Meanwhile, stocks are at all-time highs. Real estate prices are at all-time highs. U.S. debt is at all-time highs. And crypto is at all-time highs. If the Fed chair actually cuts rates to 1%, we are going to witness perhaps one of the biggest runs of all time in stocks and real estate. There has never been a time in history where the Fed has cut rates to 1% with the stock market and home prices at all-time highs. In May 2026, Fed Chair Powell's term will officially come to an end. Now, this is where I think it's interesting. The post ends with, if the rates are truly going to 1%, everything is cheap. And my response to this post that I posted below it was, very true. Start off there. Very true. The other side looks like this. If Wall Street panic buys this 1% rate plus this new dovish Fed chair, like the whole outlook that I just painted for you guys, if the market buys that and the fantasy doesn't materialize into actual, like the actual outcome that we're all looking for, that everyone will be looking for, we'll be reliving April's market drop. Now, this is not a panic video. This is not the market's going to crash video. This is just a, hey, look, it's cool to look one direction and say, hey, if this, then that, cool. But if that doesn't pan out, what does the other side look like? Shattered bullhorns and a fresh batch of sad rate cut memes are going to be prepared. I think it's very important right now to make sure we are aware of what both sides of this equation look like as we move forward. Let's keep this going here.
You had mentioned that an announcement could be as early as October or November, and Powell's term ends in May of 2026. How is the street supposed to navigate between that announcement time and the time between the term being over for Chair Powell? You were the one, I want to remind people, that had brought up the idea of a shadow Fed chair prior to the election. Is a new appointee supposed to be considered that shadow Fed chair?
Well, not necessarily. We'll see. There's a seat opening up, a 14-year seat opening up in January. So we've given thought to the idea that perhaps that person would go on to become the chair when Jay Powell leaves in May, or we could appoint the new chair in May. Unfortunately, that's just a 2-year seat.
So ultimately, do you think that there could be some confusion?
Well, I don't see why there would be confusion, because obviously there are people who are currently at the Fed who are under consideration. So why would there be confusion if that you add another candidate in January?
So what about Fed policy as it stands today? The president has voiced his preference for lower interest rates. There have been investors, but also most recently the Bank of International Settlements, warning about any inflation risks tied to the tariff policy. Realistically, how much can the Fed lower rates this year? And what is the level and rate of unemployment that would suggest a faster pace of rate cuts? Economically, what has to slow?
Well, look, I said during my confirmation, I won't talk about the mistakes the Fed's going to make. I'll only talk about the ones they have made. They made a gigantic mistake in 2022. And as I like to point out, medical studies have shown that people who fall tend to look at their feet, which makes them fall more. And my worry here is that having fallen down on the American people in 2022, Fed's now looking at their feet. We have seen no inflation from tariffs. if we do, which we don't have to, then there'd be a one-time price adjustment. Nothing is more transitory than that. So, Team Transitory, having failed the American people in 22, they seem a little frozen.
All right, guys, so we'll leave things there for now, but you get the general message with what he's trying to describe. And it's been this huge battle of whether we should cut rates or whether we should not. You guys let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you guys very much for watching. If you haven't already, of course, guys, smash a little thumbs up. I'll see you guys in the next clip.